So this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com at the 2024 American Film Festival in Wroclaw. This is the U.S. in progress. I'm speaking to Sabrina Greco for Lockjaw. They say write what you know. In this case, I don't think you've ever had your jaw wired shut.
I have not.
However, you perhaps lived strained relationships. You perhaps lived a little bit of the relentlessness of some of the characters' manifestations and how she interacts with people. I was very curious as to how you developed the DNA for your lead character.
So the idea for the movie started with the jaw wiring. I had that idea and realized I'd never seen it in a film before and wanted to explore that. So once that became the basis for the story, from a screenwriting perspective, I wanted to figure out how to get the most out of that and how to do something that was unexpected from someone that would have their jaw wired shut, because the character in the film talks a lot. Mm-hmm. She's very vocal, even though her understandability is sometimes very good, sometimes very bad. It changes throughout the film. And I also wanted to have her be a little bit deceitful with that too. I wanted to build a performance with the character that felt both comedic and tragic and deceptive, but you also wanted to like her because she was being so charming.
So Blue, there's this likability factor about her. She kind of reminds me of Olivia Cook in a way. Mm-hmm. You sort of like dislike her in one stance, but then you feel this gravitational pull towards her. Talk to me about the casting choice and striking that balance where in one juncture, as an audience goer, you might feel exactly like her entourage, but in another sense, you feel empathy and sympathy towards her, and you maybe in some level you want to befriend her.
Blue and I have known each other for a few years now. We're friends. We met, I think, like maybe 3 years ago, but we've never worked together in this way. We've collaborated on other projects before, but not the director-actor relationship like this. And when I was writing this role, I guess, you know, when you write a role, even though you don't know exactly who you're casting, you imagine people to some degree that you think could be good. And I always thought Blue would be very good in this role because I think she understands, or I knew she was capable of doing the comedy, but also the drama within the character. Mm-hmm. And then we spent a lot of time together on our trips to go get the prosthetic made and other rehearsals, trying to like figure out, you know, how are we going to get all of this across that we want from this character while having a huge tool disabled, and how do we lean into that to get more out of it from a performance and story perspective?
The piece that you're talking about is really the pièce de résistance. It's an impediment, like you say, but it's also, she uses it to her favor. And when you described how you found this, I want to call it prosthetic.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
So just like, this is like insider baseball, or it's like the DVD extra. I want you to DVD extra how you found this piece.
Yeah, so we made the film on a very small budget. So once I had this idea, a big feat was exploring like, okay, is this even possible? Can we do a movie that requires a prosthetic? So I was looking into, you know, what are the DIY options of this? Do those exist? And they do not. It's actually illegal to get a very cheap version of that made. Okay. You would have to buy it overseas, do all the stuff that did not seem safe for the actor at all. So I was getting a little worried that maybe this movie wouldn't work out. And then on a whim one night, I looked up like who are one of the most reputable prosthetic dentists in the industry right now, shot him an email, sent him a photo of what I imagined it looking like, and he got back to me with a price that was actually very reasonable and within our budget. So it was a great opportunity to move forward, and yeah, it made the movie possible, and it was great working with him too. He's worked on such like top budget movies, but he's so kind and easy to work with as well.
I want to say, like, whenever a character is hampered by some handicap of this sort, usually we laugh at the character. Like, I'm thinking of Kingpin or other stupid films like that. Here we sort of like, there's this, I want to say it's a nice delicate balance to how we feel about her. We do laugh at her, but then we sort of like empathize with her. So I love that struggle that you sort of create between the viewer and the character. Like you said, this film was made for nickels and dimes. prior to the feature, I think you did a short, almost one short a year for about 3-4 years.
Pretty much. I think there were some lulls in there as well, but since I graduated from college, I did 2 short films on my own, and then I also did a variety of shorts and sketches with our filmmaking group collective video expert, and we put those out as a feature-length sketch and short film compilation.
Oh.
So we've got me and the crew that we've worked on so many projects together. We've got a lot of time in together, so even though we made it for very little money, we all are already very in sync and kind of know what we have to do when we get on set and how to work together well.
What are sort of the challenges that shooting low budget but also shooting at night, like how did you sort of like find your dynamics or the possibilities for you?
The 2 main challenges were lighting and scheduling. Obviously, if it's shot at night, then you have to find a way to light the scenes so that you can see them. We were working on a documentary style camera that actually wasn't that great at low light, so we had an awesome gaffer, a friend of mine, Nico Tepper, come in and light the scenes, and we were shooting 2 cameras, so we also kind of need it to be lit so you could shoot from any angle, pretty much. But yeah, our way of navigating that was just, bringing on someone that we know and trust that would do a good job. And scheduling was difficult because the actors were paid, but they still had jobs that they couldn't take off. So we didn't want them to be working 72-hour days between their normal job and the movie. So we ended up shooting in the winter, so the sun went down early, and we would get people to set at 3 p.m. before the sun went down, do rehearsals, so then by the time the sun was down at about 5:30, we were ready to go, and then would wrap people out around 2:30 or 3 a.m. So it wasn't a true overnight, and we only shot technically for about 10 or so hours, but we used that time before we could even shoot as best we could to get ahead.
How did the writing process look like for a project like this? There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek dialogue. There's some characters that perform, and hence that's funny, just seeing what happens there. How did that look like? Did you have a blueprint that was character actions and then a subset script where you're focusing more on what's being said or not said?
Well, the film actually started out as a short film that I'd never shot. And then as I was writing it, I realized if I wanted people to give these big and bold performances, I needed to actually get them there in a way that felt earned and deserved. So that required writing a longer script. It also made it more possible to use the jaw prosthetic because it felt like more worth spending the money on it if it was for more time. Yeah, so then as far as the characters, I think I just had an overall vibe in my head. I knew kind of what I wanted from this main character, and I knew overall what I wanted the movie to feel like, and then just tried to piece together who else could be there to add new dimensions to this character, because they're all supporting her. It's an ensemble, kind of, but it's also a character study on her mostly. Like, she is the main character. Her story is the most important out of everyone in this movie. Yeah, and then, what was the second part of your question?
It's fun to see the LA scape in this dynamic, I want to say. So you're at the final stages. Picture lock is not that far off. You're here to sort of like Tinder match with people that can help you. So it's really, really fascinating how this program works. There's people from Poland that have their own artistic sensibilities, but they also quite like the idea of American indie or American micro indie. So you wrote the project, you filmed the project, you dabbled as much in post as possible. What was perhaps the most challenging thing for you, or the most daunting thing for you in the final kilometers, if you will?
Yeah, the edit, I co-edited the movie with Neil Wynn, who is also the cinematographer of the project and also my fiance, and we live together. So we were able to spend a lot of time on the edit together. I had started the edit myself and intended to originally do it myself, but realized after a while it was more useful to bring someone on that it would helped me realize new ideas that even though theoretically I believe I'm open to any possibilities and want to make the best movie, sometimes you just still can't see it because you're so wrapped into what you wrote from the start. So I think a challenge at first was, okay, yeah, how do I get myself out of this mental lock of what I imagined the movie to be and how do I make it better? And I think bringing Neil on to help with the edit was a huge help and made it go a lot faster.
A little bit of time away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, another pair of eyeballs. I look forward to seeing the final product. I imagine that's a possibility for next year, and obviously you're going to be in the film festival submission process. So I just wanted to say congratulations first on getting into U.S. Progress.
Thank you.
Also making a film that I could very much see A24 doing marketing materials for a film like this.
I'm glad. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities there with the mouth.
She's delicious, this character. Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.